Hey guys, Sneaky Snake here, Brothers in Arms, World of Warships, and today's video we're going to take a look at our next Double Dose series where we feature two replays from myself and Puddin playing in the Großer Kurfürst, the Tier 10 German battleship. For my replay, I'm divisioned up with my buddies Slayer and Skylaw, and they're playing in the Hindenburg and Z-52 respectively, the Tier 10 German heavy cruiser and destroyer, and we're playing some domination here on the new map, Sleeping Giant. So, for my build, I have Preventative Maintenance, Expert Marksman, Superintendent, Adrenaline Rush, Basics of Survivability, Manual Fire Control for Anti-Aircraft Guns, and Concealment Expert. And for my equipment, I have Main Armaments Mod 1, Damage Control 1 and 2, AA Guns Mod 2, Concealment Systems Mod 1, and Main Battery Modification 3. So the build that I like to use on this ship, I got it a couple or maybe 3 weeks ago, and I've played 12 or 13 games in it, I believe. I've gone with a AA focused build, but still with as much DPM as possible. Now, of course, this ship has the option to mount two different guns. You can have 406s or 420 millimeters. I prefer to go with the 420 millimeters because they have a little bit better penetration at range. And then, of course, if you use Main Battery Modification 3, you can get that reload down to about 28 seconds, which is pretty nice. And that's, of course, before you factor in Adrenaline Rush. So what you get is a broadside that has a higher potential damage than the Montana, which is really, really nice. The AA focus build that I had when I first got this ship, I was divisioned up with my buddy 3FM, and he was playing his midway quite a bit, but I've decided to just leave the AA build on this thing. And, you know, one of the main reasons is that there's a lot of Tier 8 carriers out there these days, like the Graf Zeppelin and the Enterprise, that have those filthy AP bombs that are just able to get Citadel after Citadel after Citadel on your weak German deck armor. So I feel that having an AA build for the rare occasion that you do run into one of those games where you have carriers is really beneficial. And with the AA focus build that I have, you have pretty good DPS and DPM for your AA mounts, and both the mid and the long range AA is able to get out to over 6 kilometers worth of range. Now, I know the irony here, my replay there's no carrier, and then when Puddin's replay comes on, there is going to be one, but regardless of that, I do feel pretty comfortable with the setup that I have on this ship. Now, something that's kind of hilarious to note is right at the beginning of the game, if you didn't catch it, you can see right there it appears in chat, Triple APOC division, just make it quick. So that was about a minute ago, right? Well, what do you know? That Zhao appears at about 16 kilometers away, and he's starting to make his full turn to the right, so I get a full broadside out, and even with the AA guns instead of the accuracy module, the dispersion looks pretty good, and Triple Citadel, I get the first blood and the Dev Strike, nuking that Zhao from full health to nothing, and yes indeed, that was quick.
Make your dreams come true!
You don't see that very often. You don't see that every day, but yeah, I couldn't hold myself back in chat. That was pretty funny, but anyway, okay. Getting back to the game here. So after the deletion on the Zhao, I get a full broadside out at the enemy Shimakaze, who just popped his smoke. Obviously, the Shimakaze at about 12.5 kilometers away. There is a pretty good chance that he does have torpedoes on the way. You can see the first set and the second set gets detected by the friendly Izumo, so I decide to pop my hydroacoustic just in case. And while it's not going to help the Izumo out as he takes 2 torpedoes, it's going to prevent me from taking any, absolutely. So that's A-okay. We're chasing down the Shimakaze. You can see the friendly Shimakaze continues to get this guy spotted every now and then, and unfortunately for the enemy Shimi, he had to go on a straight line to try to dodge those torpedoes, and two of my shells slam home right into the bow of that Tier 10 Japanese destroyer. So I've already picked up my second frag of the game, as we're not even 4 minutes into this battle, and I'm up to 44,000 points of damage. Now, going back to my build, if there is one thing to change, and I know I already mentioned it, but going with the Aiming Systems Mod 2 is not a bad idea. However, as we all know in this game, German battleship dispersion is amongst the worst on any of the BBs. And when you do get that really good RNG like I did on the Zhao, obviously, at the end of the day, it's still 12 guns on a platform at Tier 10. You have the potential to one-shot everything in the game, destroyers included, if they're angled. But there's going to be a lot of times where the accuracy is going to be really rough if you don't run Aiming Systems Mod 2. Now, again, it's not going to be too much better if you do run it, but it will reduce RNG by a considerable margin. And it's something to take note of. And for my Yamato, for instance, I do not have an AA setup at all. It's full gunboat. Obviously, that thing has the beast mode Sigma and the guns that can penetrate anything in the game. So, you know, putting as much emphasis on the performance of your guns is really important. With the Kurfürst, I really don't feel that you need to. It's not something that I would say absolutely 100% use. But, you know, even with AA Guns Mod 2, the accuracy is still okay once you get to those, you know, sub 13, 14 kilometer ranges. Anything after that, you really do have to rely on RNG to hook you up, like that Zal shot that I had. But I digress. Getting within 13 to 14 kilometers, and, well, even with the crappy accuracy, quote unquote, it's still really not that bad at the end of the day. Now, at this point in the game, we've overrun really quickly the seaside of the map, the eastern side of the map. So now I'm going to make a push to go into the midsection. Now, you can see that there are a couple friendly destroyers, a Benson and my buddy in the Z-52, that are in the process of capturing B, and there's also some enemy ships that are in the A-cap. So what I feel is important for me to do on this map is to go right into the middle and obviously reduce the range. Sleeping Giant isn't the biggest map in the game, and because there's so many islands, especially around the C and the A-caps, you can get into some really close quarters fighting really quickly in the ship. Now, also some irony here. Puddin, as he will explain in his video, likes to run a secondary build. Would the secondary build be much more viable on this map? Absolutely. With the German secondaries, you can get over 11 kilometers, I believe 11.7 fully spec'd out on the Kurfürst, and even 11 kilometers on like the Bismarck and the Friedrich der Große. So, yes, the the secondaries, like for instance right now, that rune that is right off in front of me, he's 10 kilometers away. My secondaries would be opening up on that guy if I had a secondary build. And you do have quite a potent arrangement of secondaries on this thing, and a lot of those guns do count as dual purpose for AA, so that's why it can be pretty brutal. And you can see the rune is now only 8 kilometers away, and my secondaries have still yet to be able to shoot at him, because he's just not close enough to me. And when he gets to about 7.2, 7.3 kilometers, that's when my secondaries do start to open up. But of course, since I'm not spec'd for a secondary build, I'm really not going to get all that many hits. I've only secured 7 so far. And yeah, you can see the accuracy on those things. If you don't invest in a secondary build, battleship secondaries are incredibly inaccurate. However, I put the premium on the guns, and right there with the front and the rear guns, I do about 20,000 points of damage with 3 penetrating hits and 6 over penetrations. And you saw that shot was at about 7.5 kilometers. So you know what? That's a-okay. Didn't get a citadel. Still chunked that guy by about half of what he had for his remaining hit points. So we are good to go. I'm up to 81,000 points of damage, and you can see my secondary does manage to get one final hit before he gets out of my range. The next salvo going down, the rune is angled, but it really doesn't matter. I should be able to find enough penetrations, and that's exactly what happens. I pick up my 3rd kill of the game, taking care of that tier 9 German heavy cruiser, and to top it all off, that Yamato, for some reason, decided to not shoot at me when I had to turn broadside to kite back the other way. Now, one thing to note, on Sunday, we had a match analysis replay where I was pretty critical of some dude's low Yang replay. It was still a really good game, but there were a couple instances where his usage of consumables was rather poor. However, even the best players out there, at least I am, are humble enough to admit when they make some pretty dumb mistakes or when they just make some questionable plays. And if you notice, my hydroacoustic is running right now. But if we take a look at the minimap, what destroyer is around to be able to torpedo me? Well, if you answered there's none, you're exactly right. So the thing is, with clan battles, you know, there's no aircraft carriers to spot destroyer torpedoes or destroyers for that matter. So sometimes putting your hydroacoustic up just based off your intuition is a much better idea. And I'll be honest with you, I probably popped those that hydroacoustic for the rune torpedoes, but of course they're only 6 kilometers in range. And I turned away from him when he was about 7.5 kilometers away. So I'll just try to put it lightly. It was probably just the clan battles mindset that I did that, but if you want to call that an excuse, sure, go ahead. But yeah, that was a pretty poor usage of the hydroacoustic, I'll admit. Anyway, it's now 612 to 299. This game is going to be in the bag for us really, really quickly here. With the front guns, I managed to secure the kill on the Bismarck, picking up my 4th frag of the game, up to 114,000 points of damage. And you can see here at this range, my secondaries are once again going to be pounding the 2nd Bismarck that exited through the channel at the Alpha Cat. Now, I am getting shot, stealth fired on by a Zao, which is off somewhere to my starboard side. It was last spotted in Charlie 3, and the reason why is because my buddy Skylaw has a smoke screen right there, so unfortunately, I am not able to get line of sight. The front guns do 11k, the rear turrets do about 10,000. I pick up Confederate, chucking that Bismarck down to a very nice degree, And then my buddy Skylot did get taken up by the Zal, but he picks up it's just a flesh wound because his torpedoes took care of business. And you can see here something else to note. I've been very lenient to use my repair. I do have 2 fires burning right now, but there's really no reason for me to use the repair. And the reason being is that you need to be extremely careful when you press that R button, because nothing is worse than putting out a fire, a single fire at that, or even 2 of them, and then 20 to 30 seconds later some torpedoes come in and you get the dreaded flooding and there's nothing that you can do about it. So I've been trying to train myself to hit that R button only in a situation that I absolutely must have. And you saw right there, I burned quite a bit more than I probably really should have been burning, but, you know, that's okay. I still got 43,000 hit points to work with. Unfortunately, I am not going to be able to time this turn to not take a pretty decent hit from this guy. The Iowa manages to do 13,000. But because you have so many hit points to work with in this ship, and I still have 35k, you know what? I'm alright at the moment. I'm still in business. I still got my heel gun right here. And I still got 2 more coming up after that. So you know what? The guns are still ready to go, and I'm still feeling pretty good. Now, you can see there, dominant prey in the Zal. He's at 11.4 kilometers away from me. He is moving due east. He's trying to get around us again. You know, he's been harassing me on the flank for quite some time, but the maneuver that I did right here was to put myself into a cutting position for the Zal while protecting myself from the Iowa. You can see that the angle that I'm at, he is not able to get any more shots at me, so now I can focus clearly on the enemy Zal that is going away from me. Now, he's at 13 kilometers, and this is getting outside of the safe range, I should say, or the effective range of these guns, where RNG really does have to throw you a bone if you want to hit. I got 9 seconds left on the reload, and once again, I use the hydroacoustic, probably for the Edinburgh torpedoes, if there are any. But again, this is just those clan battles instincts kicking in. Anyway, getting the full broadside out. I shoot all 12 of those guns downrange. The accuracy looks absolutely abysmal. The Zal opens up just a bit more of a broadside, and RNGesus throws me my second Zal bone of the game. 2 Citadels, another Dev Strike, Kraken Unleashed, 179,000 points of damage, and I secure myself a very nice Dev Strike there. Getting 2 Zals in one game, you know, that is something that just does not happen very often. And you can see here, the enemy Iowa decided to come around the corner. 11,000 points of damage dealt to that guy. Was able to get the shot off while I'm guessing he is still reloading. So I should be able to get angled back in on him before his guns are ready to shoot the next salvo. So I was able to actually get a cheap bit of damage dealt to him without taking really any in return. You can see the Yamato did toss a salvo my way. And very unfortunately here, I have another opportunity at a Dev Strike, but I don't aim far enough back on the Edinburgh. I thought that he was going to come to a stop and start moving forward, so he did outmaneuver me right there. But I still get 6 over penetrations that somehow dealt over 11,000 points of damage. I pick up the high caliber, and I crack over 200,000 points of damage. And, you know, just farming as much damage as I can here at the end of the game. This is the kind of situation where you know you're going to win, and all you're trying to do is take the best shots at the ships that are giving you the best amount of broadside or whatnot. So my buddy Slayer, anyway, is going to go in there and take care of the Edinburgh, I believe. And now I'm going to turn my attention here to the Iowa. Now, he's only 5 kilometers away from me, and yes, I know, the secondaries will be better here. But at this point, what I'm going to do here is I don't want to get rammed by this guy. So I'm comfortable going broadside. I still have 37,000 points of hit points to work with. I get over 13,000 with 6 pens and 3 over pens, and I tried to shoot right at his turrets. But what I'm trying to do right here is go full speed. Again, I know I'm full broadside, but whatever. I can take a hit from this guy. I'm not going to get Citadel here. You can see right there, I take about 13,000 in return, but that's a-okay. He's only got 8,000 to go. You can see he's now trying to speed up and get into a position to ram, but he's not going to be able to do that. He shows way too much broadside, and I secure my 6th kill of the game on the Iowa, taking care of that Tier 9 American battleship. And at this point, there's only 1 enemy ship left, and I secure a fantastic performance here in the Kurfürst.
Hi guys, Puddin here with a game view of my Tier 10 German battleship, the Kurfürst. Now, my captain skills are priority target, expert, an extra plane, expert marksman, basics of survivability, advanced fire training, manual secondaries, and concealment. My modules are protect my main batteries, longer shooting secondaries, DAMCOM 1, DAMCOM 2, faster reloading main guns, and concealment. Now, if you remember, Sneaky's captain skills were preventative maintenance, expert marksman, adrenaline rush, basics of survivability, manual AA and concealment, while his modules were protect its main batteries, STAMCOM 1 and 2, longer shooting AA and concealment. Now, as you can see in chat here, we are kind of going, there are some friends of mine from STW on the enemy team. We were just having a little fun with the chat. But the whole point of Sneaky's video and my video is to showcase different builds in, you know, different playstyles. I go with a much heavier secondary build, while Sneaky goes with a little bit more of an AA. If any of you have seen my Kurfürst videos from before, you have noticed that I did drop some skills to pick up concealment. It just seems to be a little bit more, I'm a little bit more successful with concealment as far as when I need to get undetected and run away. The other thing is it lets me get in a little bit closer for my secondaries to do some work. The other thing is, you notice that Sneaky and myself are running somewhat of same skills and or modules. Some of these are just universal no matter what. But you know what, Sneaky and myself both had really excellent games, and we wanted to showcase both of them, you know, as far as different builds and different playstyles. Now, while Sneaky does, I believe, have Superintendent, of course he does, and I forgot to say that, which, you know what, gives him an extra hydro and I believe an extra heal, which kind of means he gets to play around and be a little bit more liberal with the hydro. So you know what, if he burns one, it's no big loss. He still has 3 more. The other thing you notice, we are running all premium consumables. While we do have some similarities, these play styles and builds are completely different. With his extra heal, he can actually go around and sling a little bit more of his health, to where I do not. I need to preserve just a little bit more of my health. Now, ironically, Sneaky has more of an AA build and I have more of a secondary build, and if I was in Sneaky's game, my build would have been just a little bit stronger, and his would have been a little bit stronger here because we do have a carrier. It is a tier 8 carrier, but those AP bombs are for real if he is running those. I noticed the Montana was initially going slow, sped up, and I just count these shells as a loss. Now, the other thing is, with Sneaky not running any sort of secondaries build, a Cyclone is really his best friend. A Cyclone is any German battleship's best friend because it forces the engagement to be close range when and nobody can really citadel you. If you get spotted, you can't see it, you know it's a DD. You better pop that hydro, throw up your plane, do something, because torpedoes are probably on the way. Now, if you notice, I am not playing overly aggressive right now. There is a Cyclone coming in. We do have the ACAP. There is a carrier, and I want to still maximize AA in the fact that I'm sticking with the fleet. That if the gentleman wants to go after me, he's going to have to go through several different people. I apologize to poor Mr. Chipmunk for hitting him with the Citadel. You know what? But I just had to punish him for playing that evil zone. I don't want him burning me to death. But I am sticking with the fleet here. You know what? You know, like I said, to maximize AA, Sneaky can afford to be the lead guy because he does have so much in his AA, to where I really need to stick with people, because what is going to save me is several people's AA sticking in a fleet. The AA bubble is what is going to save me. Like I have told Sneaky, with the Midway's ability to just outright delete things, even at Des Moines running defensive fire, the ability for me to live is to Midway not going after me, and the best way for that is you stick with the fleet. Now, I noticed Captain Chris was starting to make the cruiser turn of death. Luckily for him, he was in a battleship, which is why I held my shot a little bit. Wait for him to be, you know, you kind of have to wait for him to fully engage into the turn, like commit to it before you let loose. You don't want to wait until he's already broadside, because at that point it's too late. Now, luckily for me, I did get a citadel on him. Sorry about that, guys, but I did get a citadel on him. But you know what, Captain Chris is going to do an excellent job of staying alive. The other thing is, I took the shots there just as the mountain came into play. Now, the thing that you don't see in both of our replays is us actually selecting ships for our secondaries. While Sneakies will automatically start shooting, he doesn't need to select them. I do. In order for my Nurembergs to activate, I have to select the ship. Now, I screw up on Chipmunk here, and I shoot too early. I did not give him the proper lead, so those shells are going to be a wash. But my line of thinking right now is, my division mates are more by B. The people I'm communicating with are more by B, so I am going to go by B. Now, the other thing you may notice between Sneaky's game and my game is I haven't used a single hydro. That is because I've been paying attention to where these you know, torps, it's just natural for me to, you know what, if I see red things, to pay attention to what it is. I'm trying to get close to the Kaba to help him with AA and for him to help me. But the enemy carrier is actually doing the smart thing. He's waiting for the cyclone to kick in so he can just come in, drop on somebody that I'm hoping is not me. Spoiler, it is. To you know, not have everybody's AA. I noticed the enemy Agneval. I noticed he's got 10-kilometer torps. So, you know what? Luckily for me, the plane caught them. If my plane did not catch these, I would have immediately popped hydro. Immediately cut speed, turn in. The other thing is, just by avoiding those torps, I am now showing broadside to Musashi. I'm also within 9-point-something kilometers of another DD that can potentially come out here and torp me. Now, I need to take care of priority target number 1, which is the Musashi, which is broadside to me. I'm broadside to it. As I get a triple citadel for 53,000. Screw you, Sneaky. My triple citadel was for more damage, even though I didn't kill him. But because I do have my secondary, a secondary build, my secondaries are able to help me out in this fight, get extra damage, get a fire, to potentially burn this guy down while I am retreating. The reason I did turn away is because there was a DD at the corner of that island that could potentially be sending torps. I don't need to pop my hydro to know that there could be torps on the way. Now, number 2 is, if you can see barely on the mini-map where the Minotaur was last located, he's well outside of his torp range, which is 10 kilometers, because my secondaries go out to 11.1, which is the yellow ring on me. I see these torp planes come in, and I'm thinking, well, I'm screwed. There's really not much I can do. The carrier did an excellent job of being patient to get his drop as I take a nice big chunk. But luckily for me, it is only a tier 8 carrier. Now I see deep water torps, so I know where the Pan-Asian destroyer is. Now what I'm thinking here is I need to get with the fleet, I need to get with the group, I need somebody else to take the lead, because I need their AA. I'm pretty much counting on Mr. David for his AA. The other thing is I'm trying to get me some distance, because I don't know if this enemy carrier has AP or HE bombs. If he would have brought it, if he's got HE and he brings them in now, I would be burning for a while. Now, I've been, you know what, during a cyclone, you need to pay attention during to the mini map a little bit more on what is spotted, where to spot it, where is lad spotted, and what is going on. Because this is going to tell you where and kind of what to do. In a lot of videos, you will always hear us talk about the mini-map. The mini-map is a big part of the game because it gives you so much information. It tells you what ship is where. Right now, there's only one ship spotted on B. I do believe it is a battleship, but you know, a Kiev, Hindenburg, Yamato, and Kutuzov there. There's no way this guy's going to live. There's just too many people shooting at him. Then somebody picks up the destroyer that is on B, so we now know where their last DD is at. So what I'm thinking is at this point I need to head south to help support those guys. But I still want to be trailing behind these guys in front of me a little bit because, like I said, I need that AA protection. Now, if you notice what this team is doing compared to the red team is, we are grouped up into a significantly large battle group. If something just pops up on any one of these ships, there are several of us that will be able to quickly get into the fight if we didn't have to slow down, turn in to avoid torpedoes. But we are staying clumped up, which we are maximizing AA, and we're going to be maximizing our firepower. If anything goes off by itself in a cyclone, there's a good chance it's going to die. Our Yamato is going to show us that exactly. As the enemy Montana and DD showcased earlier, there's really nobody that can help this gentleman. We are all on this side of the island, and he is on the other. But you know what? I think we just kind of need to slow down, look at the minimap, and think about the whole situation. So we're going to pause the game now, blow up the minimap now, and look what is going on. The Kurfürst just gets spotted by the Yamato. I do believe this Kurfürst is near full health. The Yamato is low health. There is also another ship I cannot make out to the south that is getting spotted by, I believe, planes. There's an Alabama down there. The Baltimore and carrier are unaccounted for. But because I'm with this group here, I am getting all that information to where I need to point my guns. Now, what I am thinking is I need to have my guns facing to the south to support the group that is in front of me. Deal with the Kurfürst later. Deal with what is ever south and on the camp, and then we can come back and deal with the Kurfürst. Now, what we're going to do here is unpause everything and see how everything unfolds. Now, what I should have done is Controlled X to keep my guns facing to the south. But what I'm going to do here is just turn in a little bit towards the Kurfürst. But you know what? I am turning my guns towards the Kurfürst because I was thinking I might have seen him first. I was going to see his side, but you know what? Luckily for me, you know what? I am going to see this guy. But my indecision with my turret-diverting aiming guns is going to come back and mean I cannot actually fire on this Alabama. The other thing is, you know what, you see, you hear me pause, or you saw me pause and say I was going to do this, but I'm doing something else. That's how quick, you know, things can change. My initial game plan was to support these guys. But, you know what, a broadside battleship is a broadside battleship. The Yamato is, unfortunately, you know what, he was sandwiched between two ships. But because I was having a little indecision on what to shoot at, my guns really weren't turned towards the Alabama. And then I completely decide against shooting the Alabama because I don't know if these things are AP or HE. And the only way to minimize damage for AP is to keep turning. And then, you know what, I get to see the broadside Kurfürst. So luckily for me, all of that indecision actually paid off with a decent results here. But unfortunately, now I'm broadside to Baltimore, and I'm well within the other Kurfürst secondaries and showing him a little bit too much side. Luckily for me, my back turrets cannot get into play, which means I'm not showing a lot. But as you can see how close they are, I am showing a little bit too much. I wait for him to shoot before I decide to make my turn. Now, at this point, I decide the biggest threat to me and my team is this Baltimore. While I've got my secondaries going on the Baltimore, I just switched them to the Kurfürst to try to potentially get a fire on him. Now I see a naked Baltimore turning, showing me side. I'm being a little patient, and boom, Citadel, goodbye to you. Now the other thing is Cyclone is starting to dissipate. But if the thing that you saw in both Sneaky and my replay is picking correct targets at the right time and dealing with ever-changing situations. When we did pause, I talked about how I was going to support the South, but you know what? That changed almost instantly in the fact that I might have been able to catch this Kurfürst broadside, which I did, and due to the fact that the planes were coming in. Now, luckily for me, my secondary set a fire on the Kurfürst, which is really, you know what, that's where I'm hoping to get the damage from my secondaries. It's not just the raw damage, it is the potential of them setting fires and letting enemy ships burn. I see enemy torp planes and I'm thinking, crap, I'm dead. That's pretty much what I'm thinking, because you know what, anything sneezes at me, I should be dead. What I do here is I cut my speed and I turn it, and then I, you know what, stop my turn to make myself fit in this nice Kurfürst size hole. I mean, I pop my heel instantly just in case I did eat a torp and it hit something that was saturated to where I would get minimized or lower damage. And then I see dive bombers, and thank God the Kurfürst shot AG and nothing caught on fire. I see these planes coming in. I think, I don't care. This guy's healing up. I want to get a little payback myself. Take the shot in, trying to get any little damage I can, and to help our carrier out just a wee bit to minimize damage as our carrier gets to drop in. I see these planes coming in, and I'm thinking, crap, I'm dead. There's no way. Luckily, no fires. But luckily, our friendly CV is taking care of these planes, and I'm just praying that we can tick fast enough. Spoiler, we do. So now we are just going to go check out the post-battle results. Now, as we saw in Sneaky's game, he did an excellent job using his health, his health, and his map awareness of what is going on. Unfortunately, he could not make good use of the AA that he does have on his ship to showcase that. But Sneaky, I believe, showcased, you know, the difference between the two builds. While I can be a little bit more aggressive because I do have the secondaries, which would have came into play a little bit more in Sneaky's game, and Sneaky's AA would have been great for my game to showcase that. It does showcase different builds and different play styles, while they may be similar, are different. You know what, we both are running like concealment because it just benefits ships in general. But you know what, I do believe he does have superintendent. If If he doesn't, I'm sorry, I apologize, I'm wrong for that. But he does get a little bit more health to play with, which means he could be a little bit more aggressive, being the one to lead the charge, especially if there's a carrier, to where I need to stick with the fleet. Just because this is the build I'm using doesn't mean you are going to have success, and just because Sneaky's having success with his build doesn't mean you will. You need to find the right build that suits your playstyle. You need to find a playstyle also for that build. You know what? A full secondary build is not going to suit a very passive player gameplay, because all of your points, all of your captain skills are for waste for the most part. And to where if you don't put anything into some sort of secondaries, like it's not going to really benefit a super aggressive playstyle, because you are not getting the most out of your ship or playstyle. Now, I hope these two games really did showcase different playstyles, different builds for you guys to think about, ponder, and to potentially help you find something that will suit you. We do appreciate all the support you guys do give us. We do love all the replays you guys send us. The email for that is in the description down below. Remember to compliment good teamwork, good team play. We are quick to report, slow to compliment. And with that, guys, please hit that like and subscribe button, and have yourselves one heck of a great day.